In this video, we are going to highlight 4 features of the Celebrite BlackLight 10.2 release. Let's get started. The first feature we're highlighting is the ingestion of a .dar file. In this example, we are using an extraction of an iPhone SE. You may now simply drag and drop a .dar onto the component list, allowing the ingestion process to begin. And I just did that here, and you can see we now have our Add Evidence window, and we can now select whatever processing options we would like to. Those of you familiar with BlackLight, this should look very similar. Previously, I ingested this item using the comprehensive option, and this is pretty straightforward. So I'm going to cancel out of this, and we're going to move on to our second item using that ingested .dar file. Our second item is optical character recognition. BlackLight will now extract text from PDF, TIFF, BMP, PNG, JPG, and GIF files. So this is a really cool feature because historically this text was not available. So let's go take a look at how we could see that extracted text. So I'm going to go up to our command bar and I'm going to click on the file filter icon. I'm going to go over to the right here and add a condition. Select this drop down and go all the way to the bottom and select OCR Image Text. And I only want to see the files that have OCR Image Text. So I'll do that, go over to the filter button, select that, and now BlackLight will display only those files with OCR Image Text. I'm going to go down below and select our Preview tab, and then I'll select the sample.pdf here. So now we'll see a preview of that file. And it starts PDF kit, sample PDF. Then we're going to see a few page numbers here. All right, now I'm going to go select our strings tab. I'm going to scroll down in this tab until I see OCR image text appear. That is going to designate what is the actual text that was extracted from the file. And we see items very, very similar to what we saw in that preview. PDF kit, sample PDF, and the individual page numbers. Now, these items and this data will be available for searching, but you must use the index search. This extracted text will not be available if you use the content search. All right, that concludes the OCR, and now we're going to move on to tagging and reporting, our third enhancement. This feature we've received a number of requests for. Those of you that have spent any time doing investigations, you're sitting in front of a screen, you're working cases, and you're typically tagging a lot of items. So I'm going to minimize the icons here a little bit so that we could see a few more. I'm going to select this first one. Now I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to select a number of items here. I'll just come over to this one, hold down my Shift key, select that, and then I'll click anywhere in that area, Control click, and I'm going to create a new tag. So I'm going to create a new tag and I'm going to call that demo_pictures. And I'll say OK to that. And you're going to notice that tag name now will appear in my component list off to the left here. And you're going to see a little status icon. And that status icon is going to update as it is creating those tags. Now, previously I was kind of locked into this interface, but let's say I want to go to my communication tab now, and I want to look at what the calls are. I can do that while that tagging is happening in the background. So I can click on other items in the interface. Now, as you see to the left here, now I see 559 near at the end of the demo pictures tag. So what that means is that is now complete. So I can go back to that, and some of you may have noticed that there was not a ability to select any of the metadata. We've actually moved that around. So I'm going to click on demo pictures, and up in the right we're going to see a configure button. I'm going to go ahead and select that, and this is the new location where you can configure the metadata you want associated with any particular tag. If you don't want a specific item, you can simply select that, click on the little arrow here and move it to the exclude side. And now that item of metadata will no longer be associated. Once I click close, it's going to update all those tags, and those new settings will now take effect. So that addresses the reporting component where people didn't want to have all of those metadata items associated in their report. So we've really improved the efficiency and operability there, where you can now work on other things. All right, that concludes number 3. Number 4, we're going to talk about timeline. For those of you that have been customers of BlackLight for some time, you may recognize this feature. I'm going to go back up into our command bar, select the timeline icon, and now we have an interface across the top. We have years that are listed, and then down the left-hand side we have different categories. So, as I'm a visual person, I like to look at this to identify areas of activity. And as I kind of scroll through here, I can see the different areas of activity very, very quickly over a large range of dates for all the categories that are listed along the left. Now, I see a lot of activity here, and then it looks like there are some drop-offs. So I'm just going to hold my mouse down and scroll over this area, and you see there's a bit of a yellow highlight there. And now I've just effectively zoomed in to that area. Now as I've zoomed in, I see that there's quite a lot of activity, and then it drops off pretty sharply here. So again, I can scroll through all of my different categories and see all the different available data associated to the time range that I've zoomed into. So super, super powerful to see all of these aspects. And if I just want to jump over here and click on history, let's expand these titles out and see what they were doing around that time. Okay, so it looks like we've got a Google search here for MLB 2020 season delayed. Now, if you noticed, as I clicked on this item, there is a little vertical bar here. And what that vertical bar corresponds to is the actual time in the timeline that this specific item that I've selected corresponds to. So this is extremely powerful to be able to really kind of narrow things down and get a high-level overview. I'll also mention up here on the left are some of our control items. So if you click on the question mark here, it will provide hints for the different functionality and capability available in the timeline view. I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can simply click on those multiple times and it will provide you the hints for the different functionality and capability. With that, that concludes the Cellebrite BlackLight 10.2 feature overview. Thank you for supporting our mission in revealing the truth in data to create a safer world. Goodbye.